In this lesson we're going to look at the phases of the moon. Now last lesson we learned that the moon orbits the Earth, and it does so in an anti-clockwise direction, and it completes one orbit in approximately 28 days. Now as it's orbiting the Earth, it's illuminated by light from the Sun. Okay? And wherever the moon is in its orbit, always exactly half of the moon is illuminated by the Sun. So half will be in daylight and the other half will be in darkness. So this is true whatever the position of the moon. Now what we call the phases of the moon are a result of how we see these shaded and bright regions of the moon as it moves in its orbit. So for example, if I'm looking at the moon when it's in this position, then what I see is a half moon, and we can sketch these various images. So what we'll see is the half moon, like that. But as the moon moves on in its orbit, when we're looking at it when it's in this position, then we see the illuminated and shaded regions will look like this. Okay, and you get what is known as a crescent moon. This was the half moon. Now when the moon moves to this position in its orbit, it becomes invisible. You cannot see the moon at all because you're completely dazzled by light from the Sun. So when the moon's in this position, it's called a new moon. And then as it comes round to this position again, we get another crescent moon. And then when it's in this position, we have another half moon. So that's crescent. Apologies for that, I just realised I spelled crescent wrong. Let's correct that. There we go, put that. There we go. And so the moon continues to grow as it moves through this part of its orbit, and then when we're viewing it in this position, most of the moon is illuminated, and so this is known as a gibbous moon or gibbous moon. And then as the moon moves to this position in its orbit, well, from the Earth you can now see the full moon's disk, and so this is known as the full moon. And then after that we return again to another gibbous moon. This time you'll notice that the phase of the moon, the part of the illuminated disk that we can see from Earth, is now decreasing. So we say that as the moon is moving through this part of its orbit, we say that it is waning. Okay, waning means getting smaller. And then as the moon moves from the new moon back to the full moon again, we say that it is waxing. Waxing is Old English for getting bigger. To summarise, really, the phases of the moon are really the views that we have on Earth of the illuminated and shaded parts of the moon as it moves in its orbit around the Earth.